Hi, I'm Andrei Mincov, the founder of Trademark Factory, and in this video I'm going to share my thoughts about yet another trademarking screw-up. This time around, it's Nestle fighting a woman over the Crunch trademark. Alright, let me start reading from the article. You'll find the link in the description below, and we'll take it from there. Nestle accuses Tulsa businesswoman of trademark violation. Okay. A Tulsa businesswoman is facing off with giant food and drink maker Nestle. The company claims that Carla Robinson and her company, Carla's Crazy Crunch, secured a trademark that was too close to their mark of crunch. It's just a tastier, light, airy, melts in your mouth, sweet, salty butter snack, said Robinson, who thought she and Nestle had reached an agreement before the company filed an opposition with the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. Robinson started her business in late 2017 to help her mother, who needed more income. Now, she feels that Nestle is bullying her because her company is small, but says her product is nothing like any of theirs. Okay. So I'm glad they like my product. If they like it, they can buy me out. But this really is not a good look for them to come after someone who's not as big as they are. This makes absolutely no sense. I'm not trying to compete. I'm not even in the same category as them. Well, yes, actually you are in the same category, in the same class. But this was actually, there's a development to the story because, so what really happened, so she filed her trademark, USPTO approved it, it was published, and then Nestle opposed. And just a few days ago, her lawyer filed an answer to that opposition. And actually, want to do something different this time around. I actually want to walk you through the answer and show you a bunch of things there. I think it will be a good lesson. So, well, first, let me show you the opposition. Just a few things. So Nestle claims that they own all of these trademarks that say Crunch. There is Nestle Crunch, there is this Nestle Crunch, there is Crunch in the color, there is Crunch in black and white, there's just Crunch as a word mark, there's another Crunch, and most of them are registered for class 30, confectionery pieces for baking. This one is for chocolate and chocolate bars. This one is for chocolate bars, ice cream, and frozen confections. There's this one for also chocolate and ice cream, frozen confections, chocolate bars, ice cream bars, milk chocolate, and so you see where this is going. So let me quickly run you through the answer to the opposition. Again, I'm not going to go through it all, but I'm going to quickly go through that. So the first thing they say is that this opposition should never have happened because the parties entered into an agreed settlement. Because of that settlement, the mark was not supposed to be opposed. This is a good ground because if there was indeed a settlement, then part of that settlement is that there is no opposition. And the agreement was that current and future packaging for Carla's Crazy Crunch will not include use of a blue background or a combination of red, white, and blue, which is not using, and that her mark will not now or in the future be used or registered with respect to any products containing both chocolate and crisp rice, which her product doesn't. Now, what they say is that after they agreed to the settlement, they lied to her and asked for extension of time to finalize the settlement, but instead they actually filed the opposition. And what they're saying is that they asked for extension of time to oppose under a false pretense, and then they never formalized that settlement agreement, and instead they opposed. That argument by itself is not going to go anywhere, because really Nestle would have enough resources to file the opposition. So they did have a genuine intention probably to settle something, change there. But even if they didn't, they got the extension of time to oppose, Now they're opposing. The deadline was not missed. So the extension of time argument I don't think is going to go anywhere. But the argument that there was a settlement, that the parties agreed to something, that could play out. Now, the other argument is that there's a bunch of Crunch trademarks out there. So 1921 Crunch products registered many in the same category as Nestle's Crunch, and this is true. And so they're showing, chocolate fondant with a cracker crunch. There's a Dunkin' Crunch, Whoopie Crunch, there's Love Crunch, King Whey Protein Crunch Bar, and some others. So that's a great argument. Basically what they're saying is if the trademarks office registered a bunch of trademarks that have crunch in them, they thought that, let's say, 10 crunch trademarks can coexist in the same space. And if that's true, then so can 11. And so they're saying that Carla's Crazy Crunch is different enough from what Nestle is doing, certainly not less different from those other, Love Crunch and other marks, so she can coexist with them. That's a good argument. And then they also say that the examiners at the USPTO saw no conflict and issued a trademark to Carla's Crazy Crunch. No, they didn't. So what they did is they approved her mark for publication, and the whole process is designed to give anyone who's interested an opportunity to oppose the mark, and to say that, yeah, the Trademarks Office didn't see a problem with that is a no-starter, because again, this is entire reason the trademarking process includes the step such as opposition, that if the Trademarks Office doesn't see a problem, an interesting party can raise their hand and say, please don't give this trademark to them. And you can't, in your defense, say, well, the Trademarks Office didn't see it, right? Because if that were a good defense, then we would never have one successful opposition. And they do happen. Now, another argument they make is that her product don't resemble Nestle's products. It's an iffy argument because, yeah, it's not the same thing, but it's related. So the question will be, how related is it? I think it's not their strongest argument. I think the strongest argument is that there was a settlement, and also that there's coexistence between Crunch brands and that her brand is sufficiently different from theirs. Okay, and so here they're going through specific allegations, and it just adds this snowflake nonsense, about the big guy trying to bully the small guy. USPTO doesn't care about this one little bit. The journalists will like that. The PR agencies are going to like that. USPTO is not going to like that. And to put that, for an attorney to put that in their response, I think it's really not a great style, let's put it that way. So, I say, unfortunately, it uses that. So Carla does not dispute that Nestle is one of the world's largest producers of food and beverages. Unfortunately, it uses that position to bully and file meritless oppositions. There's really no place for that in answers. Does not dispute that opposer has trademarks relating to candy bars. Hers is not a candy bar, but really their trademarks are not just for candy bars. They also cover confections. So that could be an issue there. Note that all marks relate to chocolate-based products, and that Carla's product is a puffed cornmeal-based product which is sold in a bag. Again, just going back to this one, to the last one. So this last trademark, they filed for it in October of 2017. They got it registered in April of 2018. And this one is new. It was registered for morsels and baking pieces, namely confectionery pieces for baking. So this one is actually pretty close to what she does. So that could be their argument. Now, so they say the allegations are meaningless and superfluous, and that she denies same. Again, I don't know what was the reason for responding like this, especially when done by an attorney. This really was uncalled for. And she says that her goods are neither identical nor highly related. Again, well, yes, you have to deny. Obviously, they have to prove that. So they're doing the right thing here. But the question is a puffed cornmeal-based product sold in a bag related to what Nestle sells? Maybe. Maybe. Opposers' allegations are made in bad faith and without adequate investigation in its truth or falsity. I don't think they're going to be able to prove that. I don't think they'll ever be able to prove bad faith in a claim that chocolate bars and confectionery items are related to what Carla is selling. So this denies the allegations. Again, identical products, blah, blah, blah. There we go. Now, this is good. So they say that fraud in procurement and extension. They say that attorneys for opposer deceived and fraudulently, I suppose, asserted reasons in requesting an agreement to extend the deadline for filing the opposition. They also failed to disclose the reason for the extension to the USPTO. For these reasons, the extension should be withdrawn and the opposition ruled untimely. That's not going to happen. Again, it's not going to happen because really Nestle has enough resources that if they had the time to draft the request to get the extension of time, they would have the same resources put to filing an opposition. So apparently, again, there was some discussion, and there's an exchange in email that I'm going to show below that shows that there was some settlement. So again, Carla would not succeed on the idea that the extension was granted improperly, but they may succeed on the idea that there is a contract that bars Nestle from opposing the mark. They say crunch is a common term. I don't think it's the right wording. Basically, what they should have said is that it's a term that's shared by several owners of registered trademarks. No confusion or dilution. Products are so dissimilar, there is no risk of confusion or dilution. Again, they have to make that argument. I don't think they're going to succeed there. And so here's what they're showing as the email correspondence. So they say, further to our discussion earlier today, my client is willing to settle on these conditions, which I've gone through before. Once you confirm your client's agreement in principle, we should be able to move forward with a short agreement memorializing these terms. Please let me know in the meantime if there are any questions. So they responded with, yes, my client is agreeable. And the question is, was a contract, a legally binding contract, formed when the attorney for Carla said, yes, we agree? That's the question, really. So they say, yeah, thank you. Sorry for delayed response. In order to give our clients time to memorialize the terms of their agreement, would you be willing to consent to a 60-day extension of opposition deadline? And they said, sure, you can have the 60-day extension. And in these 60 days, they didn't draw a contract, they didn't send a contract, they didn't sign a contract, instead they opposed. So again, I don't think the opposition's board is going to throw out Nestle's opposition based on the idea that, yes, they asked for an extension of time but didn't do anything. What they said they would do during that extension of time, it just never happens. But they may look very closely to this email chain to see if Nestle can still be opposing Carla's mark. And if that's not enough, I guess the argument that there's coexistence between multiple crunch-based trademarks that may succeed. Everything else is just fluff with little to no value. And again, it may look good for the papers and radio interviews, but I don't think it's going to have any influence on the outcome of this opposition, We'll see how this goes. It may be an interesting case. And if you found this video interesting or found it useful, subscribe now, get notified whenever the next video goes live. And if you got a brand you want to protect, go to trademarkfactory.com, book a call. We'll help you out to get this process started. And until then, I'll see you in the next video.